So, next reason was that the Quran is based off of the Bible. This is true. The Quran is based off of the Bible. It's supposed to be a continuation of the Bible, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the Quran is wrong or is not truthful. And this is because although the Quran is based off of the Bible, there are a lot of things that are in the Quran from the Bible but have been changed in the Quran, rather. Or that's actually it's debatable because the Bible has been translated from language to language to language and is pretty much no longer available in its original form. The Bible itself has changed according to Islamic belief, whereas the Quran has been kept in its original classic Arabic format throughout the years. You will not find, as long as you are reading the Quran in Arabic, you will not find a copy of a Quran that is different in any way from another copy of a Quran. So, really, it's there are a few things that are different in the Quran than there are in the Bible. For instance, probably the most prominent would be the story of Jesus, peace be upon him, or his Arabic name is Isa. So, Jesus in the Bible was crucified and died and was raised up to heaven, but then rose again. Well, that's not so in the Quran. In the Quran, Jesus escaped crucifixion and a man was crucified in his place, and Jesus went on with his teachings. So the Quran is based off of Bible stories, but not completely. So it's kind of a shaky reason to criticize Islam. Next reason was that the Quran promotes creationism. Yes, the Quran does include the story of Adam and Eve and Noah's Ark, but that's not necessarily taken word for word by Muslims. It's not necessarily taken literally. And the same thing goes for Christians or Jews. A lot of them don't necessarily take every Bible story literally. I personally believe that the point of these stories is to look deeper into their meaning instead of just taking them word for word and calling it a day. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Muslims believe in creationism. To a certain degree, yes, we do. But it's not creationism in the literal sense, if that makes sense at all. Lying for faith was the next reason. Because, now, that statement contradicts itself, almost. You've really contradicted yourself with the statement because you yourself said before that the Quran is based off of the Bible, which it is. Therefore, it has roots to the Old Testament, which pretty prominent in the Old Testament, and this is pretty much the basis for the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran, is the Ten Commandments that were set down by Moses. This is one of the first stories that's mentioned in the Quran, are the Ten Commandments and Moses. So one of the Ten Commandments, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them is don't lie. So how can it be permissible for Muslims to lie if it isn't, essentially? So the last reason is that Islam as a religion is violent and intolerant. Well, first of all, most obviously, I don't have a bomb strapped to me right now that I'm about to set off. So that's kind of a tough claim in its own, but also the very greeting for Muslims is Assalamu alaikum. That's how I start off my videos, which means peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Peace. Peace. So I don't really see how that one works. Then also, you say it's intolerant to non-Muslims. Well, there's again a line in the Quran that contradicts that statement. It's Surah 60, verse 7, it's the beginning of section 2, says, "It may be that Allah will grant love and friendship between you and those whom ye now hold as enemies, for Allah has power over all things, and Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful." Then continuing into verse 8, the verse reads, "Allah forbids you not with regard to those who you fight not for your faith, nor drive you out of your homes from dealing kindly and justly with them, for Allah loveth those who are just." So the first verse here says that actually with Allah you can find love and friendship between those who were once your enemies. With the love of God, you can love others. Then line 8 says that non-Muslims who aren't oppressing you in any way can make perfectly good friends, and you should invite them into your home and deal with them kindly and justly, it says. So, and actually Sharia law allows those who are not Muslims to be able to practice their religion and have their own religious institutions. So that's actually why you find in, especially in Iraq is mainly a Muslim country, but there's also a pretty good Christian population. And Christians in Iraq are, under Sharia law, allowed to practice their religion. So I don't really see where you're getting the intolerance factor from. So that's my response. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave a comment. And I would be glad to answer it to the best of my ability, inshallah. And thank you so much for watching. Assalamu alaikum.